to create the Northwoods look here, and they wanted to take a predominantly Door County and northern Wisconsin recipes and food styles and kind of blend them with what I do. So we pretty much did that. We kept a couple things traditional, but not a whole lot of call for them, so they're about to obviously come off the menu. North Wisconsin food's kind of rustic and pretty heavy, so once we're coming into summer, we're actually going to do a menu change next week, and some of the heavier things are coming off, and we're throwing some lighter things on to be more geared towards summer.
Is there something you don't like to make when you get requests or something? Like, I have a teacher who hates that everyone here likes cheese curds, and I don't know, is there something that you get requests
I like the
for?
cheese curds, but I do not like cooking breakfast.
Okay.
I don't like cooking eggs.
Yeah.
How many cooking jobs have you had besides here and the candy bars in Hawaii?
You said you worked through college cooking?
Yeah, I've worked at a lot of places.
Yeah.
I've been in business 32 years, so there's been a lot of places. I've worked all over the wine country in California, a little bit in Southern California, all up and down the West Coast from San Francisco all the way up until northern Mendocino counties. Obviously Hawaii, a little bit in Oregon, but most of my career has been in the wine country.
What about interaction with people in the kitchen? Has that changed much from place to place? Or?
Oh yeah, everybody's, people are different everywhere. So, it's, when I first started cooking, it was still old school. The chefs were not known for being very nice. They were still throwing pots and pans, screaming, and that's pretty much become politically incorrect anymore. So it doesn't really happen much. So that's actually a good thing. It makes for a lot more harmony in the kitchen.
Did you have a different perspective when you're working through college and you're at a lower place versus now at a head chef?
Yeah, the perspective back then is I wanted to be in the higher place.
Yeah.
So what did you start off doing when you were in college? What was your first?
Well, even before college, my first job was actually washing dishes. I bussed for a couple months before that and realized that I liked it better back there.
Yeah.
The front of the house is, although it's predominantly necessary for what we do back there, it's not where I wanted to be. So I kept watching that back when I was saying, I want to play back there.
Yeah. Do you get to interact with customers a lot?
Yeah, a little bit. Not as much as in California. In California, it's pretty much classic that the chefs come out and do the rounds in the dining room and pretty much interact with every table. It's part of the it's California show business there. So you pretty much come out and do the rounds at least once a night with all the customers and talk to them, ask them how things are. It creates a rapport where the customers want to come back because they feel kind of like part of the family. And here a lot busier.
Yeah.
Bouncing between the two places, and so just a lot busier.
Yeah.
Where do you prefer working more? Did you like it more in California? Or is it just different?
It's different. It's the type of food that I did there was much higher end. It's very, very high end. So over there it's 20 cooks in the kitchen. It's really focused. It's really art driven. It's technique driven, and it's a lot quieter. You hear the pots and pans moving and the plates moving, but everyone's scared because they're super busy. And when you're putting out, it's generally 7 courses, the type of food I do back there, and it takes a lot of hands to get the food out. It takes a lot of concentration to do it right, and the technique stuff's a lot more intricate. So it's just you don't hear much.
Yeah. What kind of a process do you guys go through if you mess up a dish or something, especially on a busy night?
Start over.
Just like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things that you can fix, like if a burger's undercooked, but you can't undercook an overcooked burger. You can't take it away. So, if it's not right, we generally scrap and start over.
Yeah.
In California, they're paying $175 for a 7-course meal. So obviously, if it's not right, it never leaves the kitchen.
Yeah.
So never did the whole spit in the food thing if something comes back?
I would fire anybody who even thought about anything like that. That's disgusting.
So you said you were working with like 20 chefs back in California. So did you get to interact with them much, or was it pretty much you each did like
Yeah,
the 7-course?
Generally back then, it depends. I mean, when I was running it, you have to interact with everyone, which was probably the midpoint of my career. I started taking over restaurants, and in the earlier part, you just learn your part. It's kind of like being in a play. You kind of learn your part, and you do it over and over and over again. And then you go into a different character, and you learn that part, and you do it over and over again. You kind of climb up the ladder a little bit. In the higher end kitchens, there's one person doing one function, another person doing another function, and through the 20 or more people, I mean, there's been as many as 40 people in the kitchen in some of the really busy places. Everybody doing their part, and it kind of becomes a dance to service time when hopefully everyone's done their part and everything works relatively seamless, although there's no such thing in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people get exhausted by their work especially when it's their job and they're doing it every day. But like, do you still do a lot of cooking and experimenting on your own?
Yeah, I'm probably on the line at least 40% of the time.
Yeah.
Directly on the line. For here, I still make all the sauces, all the soups, all the main stuff, so that everything's consistent and the same every time. You could give 4 cooks one dish with a recipe to do, and they're going to be 4 different tastings at the end. So in order to keep the consistency, I still do all that stuff. I'm usually here at 6 in the morning, get all that stuff out of the way, start the prep list for everybody else, and then they do the basic stuff, the making the burgers, the cutting the vegetables, and I usually don't get out before 7 at night. 6 days a week, and it's often later on the weekends. So
That's a lot of time.
you get used to it after a while, though.
Yeah.
I mean, 90 hours a week isn't uncommon. 70 hours a week is something to hope for.
Nice.
You said that your perspective changed when you became the main chef here.
Yeah,
Are you able to?
it became less urgent as far as getting it done, because I know how much time everything takes. So I'm not wondering, are we going to get this done? I know that there's enough time that certain things are going to take a certain amount of time. It's more just making sure everyone else is on their game. It's almost like being a coach. You just got to make sure that everybody's motivated.